111 on the timer because my Care Bear stare timer just went off and I forgot to look at the clock. So I got to remember to turn that off when I do the video. So anyways, what I was talking, this is going to be part 2. Maybe it's good to break these up. That at a certain point, probably 12 years ago, 13 years ago, that children, souls, were being born into this realm, into Earth School, at a higher dimensional consciousness, that they're already tapped into the field more so than we are, or had been. So from the what's come into my conscious awareness, and again, this might change as things continue to transition, is that they function at a completely different level. Like, they're just tapped into source, they're tapped into their higher self, they're tapped into higher consciousness more than our minds and egos couldn't even understand. That's why they're highly sensitive. And again, a lot of them come in to help clear the karma and teach us. They're here to teach us, and they are going to be continuing to teach us. So you're probably going to start seeing an uptick of pregnancies here in the next year. There's no coincidences, because these crystalline children, these rainbow crystalline children, are going to be born, and they're here for humanity. They're here to continue to help us as we transition through this awakening process and this ascension process into New Earth. Okay, so we have to be very mindful of that. And again, you, the parent or the grandparent, 133 in the timer, always do what you feel is right for you. But for me, I never felt it was appropriate to, not that he was ever at the point he needed medication, but that was never an option. So again, as a disclaimer, you decide as the parent. But I've always believed that nutrition, before I knew what I know now about the dimensional awareness that I've been learning about, that nutrition is a huge factor, you know, when it comes to these children, these adults even now, that you need to be very mindful of what you're putting in your system, because your system is so highly sensitive to food or products, just like it is to cleaning products and to environmental toxins and all of that. So we keep a very clean environment, always have been. Like, before he came along, there's a reason I started to learn the things that I did. Okay, and yes, we will use traditional if it's medicine and the medical field if we need to, but it is the last resort. Okay, last resort. 244 on the timer. So again, use your discernment. Try not to let fear interfere. Don't let fear interfere with your innate decision. If you are unsure, tap in, but be mindful. Some parents have gone to the extreme, other extremes, okay? Yes, my son has never been vaccinated. I think the problem is chemicals are triggering certain things. So he rarely gets sick. Yes, he's had some sickness and illnesses through his life, but very minimal compared to most children his age or even older. Okay, use your own discernment when it comes to what you choose to incorporate into your child. But you need to understand too that they're also tapped into something a little more of a higher consciousness than your awareness is at this point. And just be open to information and maybe get curious about going down that particular avenue and getting more information about that. Okay. So again, just saying that with all the love and all the grace. And the other reason I was guided to bring this up is our school systems need to change. And I know they're going to change because the systems in general around us are crumbling. We know what those systems are. I don't need to go into detail of what those systems are crumbling. Those systems don't work now for the paradigm that it's taking place and moving forward. But one of the biggest thing is the school systems. It needs to change. It really needs to change from the inside out. I've said this for many years. I said he just doesn't fit in to the paradigm of what the system is. What is traditional schooling? It's basically to program and get kids to basically become robots and worker bees or worker ants. You know, that they go out and they have to get the job, and again, putting that time and energy instead of being taught how to use their creativity, how to meditate, how to use breath work, how to work with their gifts and their abilities, because these children are so gifted, so gifted, psychically gifted. And if you know, you know. Sorry, I keep looking at my candles. I'm gonna blow these out. They're getting a little low. All right, so they're highly, highly gifted. So if they're talking to beings, whether it's their spiritual team, their angels, their galactics, loved ones, whatever it is, don't poo-poo that. You need to have open space for that. Don't medicate them because they're that's the last thing you want to do. You want to give them space to be able to grow into their gifts and abilities and to be able to express themselves truly and authentically without feeling like they are less than of whatever we've been programmed to think we should be as normies. I'm not a normie. I didn't realize till this year that I actually I'm definitely neurodivergent. I struggled in school. I never fit in the system. I didn't have the support system like my kid does, but I didn't have the support system because it was unknown at then. They didn't know that. I always felt that I was less than, dumb, stupid, whatever these words are, these negative words that we now are telling ourselves because of the conditioning and programming, or that you actually have parents that hopefully that's not the case, that tell you that, or people in your life tell you that, okay? So again, be open and listen to them. If they're showing you something, if they're saying something that seems off the cuff or out of nowhere, there's no reason for it, okay? There's always a reason for it. They're giving you information from them higher selves or from your team members as well. So going into this, we've been having some issues. The kiddo's in middle school, and he just is continuing to show that he just is not, that's not where he's supposed to be, right? Yes, he needs some socialization, needs to be around other people. I get that. But the other bullshit and the other nonsense of the programming, of the conditioning that goes with what now is called the public school system is so broken. It is so broken because it doesn't work for these children that are here, okay? And it might work for a few of those kids that are, what we would consider normal, I guess. I don't even like to use that terminology. But you know what I mean. So we're struggling. And it's hard because I can't, Dad's still focusing, Dad's still kind of in the 3D parallels and realms. And I really try not to overwhelm him or try to prove or to convince him of anything, because his process is his process. But I think, again, our son is here to show him something different. But the willingness to surrender to the fact of that he's just never going to fit in the way you want him to fit in. It's not going to happen. And even if you mentally making that assumption is damaging to them, okay? It's damaging. So we need to stop doing that. Consciously or unconsciously, you have to check yourself and see what is going on. Dad desperately wants him to be able to get it, to get the math bullshit, to get all this bullshit, this programming. I'm just going to keep going back to the programming and conditioning. And I said, we had a harsh conversation. Again, I do get a little worked up sometimes because I'm coming from a completely different paradigm right now, and even more so now, and trying to find the balance. And I said, you have to understand he is different. He has always been different, and he will continue to be different because he is here to do big things in this world. We don't know what they are, but we know that they are going to be big. Big, big, big. Okay? I said, I am different. It took me a long time to stand in my true, authentic self because I had been programmed and conditioned and been putting masks on unknowingly to protect myself, to get me to here. I mean, that was necessary, but now taking all the masks off, getting rid of the programming, getting new software updates, getting new updates, I said, you have to understand. And I said, what is it that you're holding on to? Because I just want him to be happy and going to school. I said, that's probably never going to happen because the more and more the older he gets, the harder it is, and the more he's just disliking it. He's constantly telling us that his brain's broken. And that's not because we've said anything or the teachers verbally have said anything, but that's the energy and frequency he's picking up and now is internalizing it. And he's crying, and he's upset, and he's frustrated. And he has said this many times this year, and this is December. They started school late August, okay? And if you're a parent or a grandparent, you know that's heartbreaking. And I know he's supposed to be there to be a beacon of light, to hold that light and energy and frequency. But also the other part of me knows that continuing to have him go into a space that is making him feel less than is a challenge as well, because he's still not old enough to be able to understand that. And again, he's a highly deeply feeling empath, so he's picking up all of those energies, entities, and frequencies that are of a lower vibration, and he transmutes them like a boss. But it's still hard on his little person system, because he doesn't comprehend or understand that, because he's beyond anything. Here's an example. They'll say, okay, you got this, and he just doesn't understand that. He doesn't comprehend that. And then they're barking at him like, well, tell us what the problem is. And he can't tell you with human words what the issue is, or why he doesn't get it, or why he doesn't understand that. Does that make sense to anybody out there? Because again, I set the intention 11:11 on the timer, that this is reaching those that it's meant to reach, and that you need to hear this message in any way, shape, or form that this comes out. So we have to quit putting these, whether you realize it or not, whether you verbalize it or internally feel that, you have to quit putting these expectations on these children, because the children that are here and the children that are going to be born are here to teach you, and to teach us as a species. And so I told my daughter, I said, your daughter is here to do great things. So again, keeping that open. If she's seeing things, speaking to things that you can't physically see, do not poo-poo her. Don't make her feel weird or less than, because especially in my lineage, I already know that, my ancestral lineage, whether it's my soul family or my blood lineage, there's a reason that these children have incarnated here with me right now. 1 2 1 2. Thank you, source, on the timer. There's no coincidence. And then now, with my awakening process happening as powerfully as it has been this year, there's no coincidence on that. Especially, it started shortly after. I was already on a process, but definitely like the boom, the wake up call, that happened this year. So just continuing to give space to your children, especially. That's the strongest message, especially right now. So that's why I had my son take a rich day a week or so ago, and he loved it. He didn't have to worry about school or worry about all the stress and the programming and the conditioning that he's bombarded with. He could just hang out in our sacred space and play and create with his toys and pretend, and as children should be. So the system will have to change to where we're teaching our kids how to play and to create, how to meditate, how to do breath work, how to transmute, how to work with their psychic abilities. That's the future of the schooling that's going to happen, the teaching that's going to happen. Okay, so we need to think about that now, and how is that going to look, and how can we participate in the evolution of that process, because the system is going to crumble. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It is so fucking broken. And to continue to force your kids and force school down their throat, it's going to keep them on a backward spiral, and it won't give them what they need to excel in their authentic self and being able to openly express themselves in any way, shape, or form that looks, whether that's art, whether that's building, whether that's constructing, whether it's singing or dancing, or just being their own frequency and energy. It's again, flying your freak flag. Let your children and grandchildren feel safe to fly their freak flag. What's that mean? It can mean anything. Freak flag, frequency, energy, whatever it is. Allow to give them safe, sacred space to be able to express themselves authentically. So when I go into these meetings, it's really challenging for me as mom, who's floating more in that fourth, fifth dimension concept and that frequency and energy, and then having to sit at a round table with everyone that's still floating in the old paradigms, the old programming, and the old conditioning, including dad to a degree. And it's really hard for me not to just give them all of the the stuff. It's been a challenge. It really has, because then I come off as the weirdo, which I don't give a fuck. I come off as the very aggressive, abrasive, loud, passionate mother who doesn't want her child to be anything more than his authentic self always, right? Because that's part of my triggering and my healing as my small child, not realizing that 1515 on the timer, that again, I didn't have a lot of stuff, but especially in the school system, I didn't have the support that I needed, right? But again, these are things that, again, his presence and the things he's going through has helped me. He's a mirror to reflect to me what I needed to heal in my inner child, again, and then me become the parent that my inner child didn't have. Does that make sense to anyone? Okay, I really hope it does, okay? So we're going to leave it on that message, 1544 on the timer. I'm going to take another drink and pull some moon cards. So I apologize for the disruption, and you have to watch 2 parts. So this will be part 2. And we'll see, and be open up to change. We have to be open up to change. We got to let go of the old systems. We got to let go of the old programming, the old conditioning. We have to be open to the new, because it's all here. It's all here now, right here or right now. All right. You know what? I'm going to pull some Earth Magic cards too, because I don't know what needs to come out for that. So again, I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. And this is day 40 of FreQSpeak, part 2. I'm sharing my real raw frequency and energy and my passion. Know that you are loved, always, Libra. I think in one of the readings yesterday, the Sagittarius new moon came out. All right, Source, what do we have for the collective? And don't be afraid to ruffle feathers. I go into these meetings and I stand firm. I hold all the compassion and love, but I don't bow down. And again, my frequency and energy will be received, as exactly how it's supposed to be received to those people sitting at that round table. Trust all that will be well. So just know that whatever you're going through, that all will be well. Again, we got another new moon card here. And then reflect on your priorities. So again, reflect, what are your priorities right now? What is your priorities moving into 2026? All right. What else do we have, Source? Oh my gosh. And when I start talking about these and channeling and I just get lit up, I actually have to turn the heat down and open my window. Can you see my windows cracked back there? Yeah, it's winter here. All right. Oh, what do we got here? Let your fears dissolve. So whatever fears you're holding on to, of clinging, holding on to past stuff, whether that's, again, past situations, past hurts, past pains, past traumas, let your fears dissolve. If you're worried about letting go of these old programs, these old conditionings, these old structures, these old, what's the word I want to say? These old, structures, whether that's banking, whether that's schooling, whether it's government structures, you got to let the fears dissolve around that and know that new is here. I just keep saying new. Open up to change. That came through already. See the bigger picture. We have to see the bigger picture. We're here to co-create a bigger, beautiful, more unified paradigm, new earth. Okay? If you haven't heard New Earth, get curious and go check out that. Whether it's videos, 1919 on the timer. Anything else with these? And take a breather. Maybe this is for me. Take a breather. Just breathe. All right, let's breathe. Inhale. Exhale, surrender and let it go. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So some of us, including me, probably need to take a breather and then attune to the divine. Attune to the divine. I am vibrating right now. My whole body is buzzing. Feel a little floaty. I probably need to ground a little more from all of this information. 2012 on the timer. So if you read that the other way, that was 12/20, which is today's date. Thank you, 2020. Promises. Promises are here. There's that new moon. Your promises are here. Okay. All right, I'm going to pull just a couple of these Earth Magic cards because they've been so much fun to add into the readings. And again, I will post these videos, and again, they are timeless. New beginnings are here. Dawn of a new day. Dawn of a new day. Continuing to allow things to unfold according to divine timing, perfect timing, and that all is well. Again, you can look at the significance of the lotus flower. That might be significant for some of you. And again, taking that higher perspective. Taking the perspective of an eagle, of a hawk. Looking down at a situation from a higher perspective. Okay? Take another shuffle here. Purification, so again, cleansing and purifying, hydrating, using the rain, using the water, using the sacred baths, sacred showers, hydration, water, nourishment. Source is here in all its brilliance and radiance, but know that you are a source. The sun, right here, solar plexus. You are source, right? Source is you and you are source. You are source. You're spark of the divine, experiencing this human life in this particular incarnation. Okay, you are source. Know that you have all of the power. All of it is inside of you, all around you, all of the time. Step back, tap in, tune in. Okay, what else do we have? Some of you need to continue to practice stillness, quietness, letting the mind be still, letting the body be still. All right, take what resonates. And it all is going to continue to get more and more effortless. Again, the more you stand in your authentic true self, sharing your frequency and energy in any way, shape, or form, even that's just you being present in a room, not making yourself small, standing up for yourself, just know that it continues to be effortless, okay? Focus again on that new moon promises. Focus on those promises, okay? Oh, Shanyati. So thank you again, beautiful soul. Sorry again for the disruption. But again, I think it split the video exactly what was meant to split it. So it'll probably split it for those that will need to see the first half, the second half, or both halves. So again, if you get curious, please go check out the light language and again, see where that lands, hits, or resonates. See if it helps you release and surrender a little bit more. And again, just know that you will receive whatever you were meant to receive in co-creation with my team and your team and source and all of that, okay? So you guys have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. It's time for me to eat some food and maybe watch something on, I'll probably watch a podcast before I watch a movie, but we'll see. I'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.